This is the Shimmy. What an interesting product from Fellow. First, they come out with a high-end French press that caused quite a stir in the coffee community, and now they come out with the Shimmy, a coffee sieve that removes fines under 200 microns, priced at $50. I've received several messages and comments about this guy and wondering what its purpose is and is it overpriced for what it is. Honestly, I've really wondered some of the same things. When Fellow sent me this a couple weeks ago early, I was pretty underwhelmed and confused about what they were actually trying to do. I've looked at their marketing and thought, who is this for? And maybe making this video is forcing myself to think about it a little bit more and flesh out some of my thoughts on it. Here are some questions I want to address. Number one, who is this for? Number two, why would Fellow make this? And number three, does sifting out fines actually produce a better cup of coffee? So let's get into some of the details about what this product is. It is a coffee sieve that removes fines under 200 microns. The ergonomics of the product actually make it pretty easy to shake out the fines and to clean, and it's dishwasher safe. Fellow claims that 200 microns is the sweet spot for a clean cup of coffee. So now the first question, who is this for? Fellow's marketing states that this product is for those that use a grinder that struggle to produce consistent grinds and produces a lot of fines. This actually presents quite the situation. For most coffee enthusiasts, we understand that a grinder is one of the most, if not the most important part of the brewing process. So most of us are going to have a grinder capable of producing a grind consistent enough to satisfy our taste. The other question is that if you have a less expensive grinder and it's underperforming, are you really going to spend $50 on this coffee sieve? One of the most popular hand grinders, at least it was a couple years ago, I don't know what the most popular one is now, is the Hario Skirt. I had this one for many years and it was my grinder of choice when traveling. The cheap burr set always gave wildly inconsistent grinds, but I didn't want to spend a premium for a good hand grinder. Nowadays, there are much better and less expensive options for hand grinders that do a great job. But I think for most general coffee drinkers, they are not going to want to get a hand grinder. So you're looking at an electric burr grinder. Let's not think about this as someone coming into coffee with a clean slate and that they're building up their coffee bar from scratch. The reality is that someone making a French press or doing pour overs in the morning, but does not fit into that higher end coffee enthusiast community, then they probably have a cheap electric burr grinder. Many people have probably read or heard somewhere that you should get a burr grinder. And what do we do when we need something but we don't know a lot about it? What do most of us do? We go to Amazon. Just doing a quick search on Amazon shows some of the burr grinders that are popular, and I can attest just anecdotally, the performance of some of these is not the best. So when you look, you have ones from like Bodum and Cuisinart that are in kind of the $50 range, and I actually have experience with both of them. And I can tell you that they are wildly inconsistent and do not produce the best brews. And actually for many years, I did have the Cuisinart electric grinder because I fit in this category. I couldn't fathom spending $170 on a Baratza Encore, which would be quite the step up. I think this first set of people that may be interested or really helped by the Shimmy is someone who already has a grinder, and upgrading means getting rid of something that they already possibly like and spending at least over $150 on a new grinder for better results. A $50 upgrade might appeal to this class of people. But you say, Brian, there are already coffee sifters out there such as Kruve, and they offer more options. Yes, that is correct. Kruve does offer a coffee sifter with many more options, but more options is not always better. Try telling someone in the category I just explained to drop $80 on the base sifter with 5 options and be confronted with more choices. Fellow reminds me of Apple. Apple products are notoriously limited in what they can do compared to Android or Microsoft devices or Linux. The reason that Apple products are so great, they are designed with constraints, and oftentimes this gives the biggest set of users the best results. It is the same thing with this coffee sifter. One device, one choice in order to make better coffee at home. That is the proposition. It's simple, it makes sense, Get this, shake out the fines, you get a better, cleaner cup. You don't have to buy a new grinder. You just put your grinds in here and dump them out. Simple. So don't get me wrong, there's a market for the crew sifter out there, but I don't think it's the same market that would potentially be interested in the Shimmy. Now, this isn't to say that coffee enthusiasts like myself or higher end grinders could at least benefit and have fun with this too. I'm interested in the sense of what changes my brews, and I don't think people like me are exactly the target though. Let's get to the second question. Why would Fellow make this? That is a good question, and it does seem somewhat random for a company like this to make a product. So while Fellow does appear to higher end coffee enthusiasts, they also appeal to a greater coffee community in general. They make great products that look fantastic and are well made. Their market is much bigger than what most of us can imagine. I think this is some of the confusion with why they would release the $100 plus Clara French press when many of us are like, I don't even use a French press, why would I spend $100 on one? But I think there's a market for it, and it might just be the same type of market that could benefit with the coffee sieve. At the end of the day, there is a market. It may be small, but that's on Fellow. Fellow is rounding out their coffee product offerings, and this is just one more thing in their arsenal. I just hope one day they can make the Fellow scale. That would be nice. So the final question, does sifting out fines actually make for a better cup of coffee? Well, taste is very subjective, but let's look at 3 things that fines in your coffee do. The more fines there are, the greater these affect your cup. So number 1, fines produce inconsistency in the overall coffee grind for your brew. Too many fines, and this can produce astringency and bitterness due to over extraction and stalled brews. This can cause you to grind coarser to make up for the amount of fines that will affect the taste profile as well. Number 2, fines will gravitate towards the bottom of the filter and can clog, and additionally they can get stuck into the pores of paper, making for undesirable brews as well. Additionally, with the French press, too many fines can cause more of that sludge that you don't like to see or taste. And number 3, water will always take the path of least resistance. If there are too many fines and the water is having a harder time getting through, it will go a different route, causing an uneven extraction. So does this mean you will have a better cup of coffee? Well, like I said, taste is very subjective. I do think you can get a slightly cleaner cup of coffee with a little bit more clarity, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have a better cup. Since my short time with the Shimmy, I can say that I've enjoyed cups that I've had and noticed a slight uptick in the cleanness of the cup, but I'm not sure if I can subjectively say that this is better, that this always makes your coffee better. I will say, I did bring out the Hario Skirtin for several brews, and this was by far the biggest difference. I was able to get a clean cup full of clarity with that grinder, and I can say that I have never done that before. But using this grinder puts me in the category for who I think this product is for. So at the end of the day, I'm sure Fellow will get a lot of pushback releasing this product that costs $50. Maybe this video is me just trying to figure out why they would release something like this. Some of you may be thinking this is completely unnecessary. I don't know why anyone would spend $50 on this. Well, that's fine. That's your opinion, and this is my opinion. And so I'm not gonna tell you whether you should get one or not. You have to figure out that for yourself. So let me know in the comments, are you interested in this coffee sieve? Do you think you'll get one? Do you think it's overpriced? Do you think Fellow shouldn't have made it? Let me know in the comments. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, like this video, you know the drill, and I'll see you next time.